All right, well, we're back with another week of Sunday Money. We finally fired Daryl, so you guys all got what you wanted, who have been leaving reviews and saying we need to get rid of him. We shipped him off to Miami, never to be seen again.
Yes. I mean, it's a celebration of sorts for Sunday Money. I mean, the listeners on Reddit, people on social media, the people on our reviews. We didn't fire Daryl. We just sent him on like a sabbatical.
Yeah.
He really needs to find himself. He needs to recenter. He needs to go down to Miami, stay in some swanky joint down there, drink some Mai Tais, and then come back maybe as a new man. Maybe. Let's hope.
Let's hope. We would be remiss, though, if we didn't mention our loyal sponsors, O'Reilly Auto Parts and Hercules Tires.
Yeah.
Thank you, Hercules.
So much.
I'm still waiting on my set of tires. Hello.
You go buy some, HerculesTire.com.
That's right. So what's been going on this week?
It's been a busy week.
Yeah. You got a week of races?
2 races, which I thought it was kind of interesting, to be honest with you, because Pocono has a lot of fan support, and I was really excited to see how many fans turned out at Pocono. Obviously, stuff changed since they announced that it was a doubleheader to where we're at right now. But apparently, the infield was sold out, and the stands were sold out. So I was looking forward to going there. But overall, I think it turned into a fairly exciting weekend, just because Mother Nature, again, I think it's rained or had some sort of lightning hold every race but one since we came back.
Yeah.
Is that? Hey Alexa, how about you come and join the party? You can chime in. This is you're filling in for Daryl.
Yeah.
Okay, I will.
Be my guest. Welcome to the show, our producer. So, and I wanted to hear from your point of view too on what MRN had to do to coordinate 3 races in one day after the Xfinity or after the truck race got rained out.
Yeah.
So, I can frame it up a little bit. So there were supposed to be 2 races, technically 5 races this weekend. Friday was ARCA. Saturday was supposed to be trucks first, Cup after. And then Sunday was supposed to be Xfinity and Cup. ARCA raced. It was raining on Saturday, so they just postponed the truck race, and we were able to get our race in because it stopped raining. So it was unheard of for NASCAR to put 3 races in one day. It was really unheard of even last year to even race any other race besides the Cup race on Sunday. That was always this big thing, was like, well, if the Xfinity race rains out on Saturday, we're moving it to Monday. There's no way we can run 2 races in one day because it's taken away from the show. So I think out of necessity, they've realized that, hey, we can run multiple events on one day, and it doesn't really take away from the show. So we raced at 9:30 in the morning, trucks fired off, and then directly following that, Xfinity race fired off, and then we raced the cup race all in one day. So it was pretty wild.
Yeah, I left Andrew at home. I left at 10 o'clock in the morning on Sunday. I went over and stayed at my parents' house all day, and it was great because he was occupied here all day long watching racing. I didn't even have to worry about him. And I got to go pass my child off to my parents and be fed at their house all day long. It was marvelous. I need more of that, more than just a couple hours to where I can not worry about him on a Sunday.
I mean, that was a lot of racing. If you're a racing fan, like Andrew is, you could literally post up and you could crack your first beer at 9 o'clock in the morning and not stop drinking until sundown and watch racing from start to finish. Right. What an amazing day.
Yeah. Doesn't get any better than that.
I wanted to know kind of what Alexa's blood pressure was when they announced that the truck race was going to be on Sunday as well, knowing that you had to coordinate 3 races in one day.
I mean, I thankfully was not at the track. I had to be at the office by 9 just so that I could record everything and then still get stuff ready for pre-race. I know that the guys that were at the track, it was a hell of a long day. And I mean, they were like the turn guys were out there the entire day. I don't think they got food. They just kind of had snacks that they had gotten from the trucks. They were out there for 13 hours. And when the Xfinity,
Excuse my Keurig in the background. Being loud.
when the Xfinity race was taking forever, my boss texted me and was like, "Hey, Xfinity is probably going to run into your pre-race." I'm like, "That's all right. It happened at Homestead, not a problem." And that got a little nerve-wracking when I'm looking at the clock. I'm like, "Okay, we're supposed to be on air for 3 at pre-race, 3:15. Okay, I'll just take that part out. 3:30, I'll take that part out." It was a 20-minute pre-race and
Commercials.
yeah. And that's the second time that's happened where we got through the entire pre-race and right as they're about to do the green flag, it's a lightning strike.
Yeah.
God.
We were out there. We were out track on pace laps, right? Or we ran 6 laps.
Is that when the first lightning? I couldn't remember.
Yeah, we ran 6 laps. No, we were doing pace laps, I believe. And then we ran 6 laps. So yes, pace laps, lightning strike, 30-minute hold, come back, run 6 laps.
That's right.
Rain, come in, hang out for 45 minutes, dry her off, and then ship it. And then hope that we got it in with enough daylight, which it was close. And that was kind of the strategy that we ended up playing. Anybody that was watching saw the 32 car up in the top 6 or 7 that the last run. We were trying to stretch fuel to hopefully they could have maybe shortened the race a little bit if sunlight dipped down low enough, but unfortunately couldn't stretch fuel long enough. We had to pit with about 15 to go. But we finished 21st. 21st and 23rd were my 2 results this past weekend, which I think that's a solid day. We stacked some pennies. We were about 28th, 9th car on average speed. So anytime we could finish a little bit better than what our cars are capable speed-wise, it's always a positive. Kevin Harvick, well, we can recap Saturday. So Kevin Harvick won in a not so dominating fashion, but there was a whole lot of varying strategies, which I don't even want to get into because it makes your brain hurt. Because Pocono is so big that you're not worried about going a lap down when you pit. So it's just all about a matter of keeping track position for the restarts. So there's a lot of varying strategies on Saturday, and then people adjusted that for Sunday as well. And then you saw Denny and Chris Gabehart made the decision to more or less leapfrog Harvick with their short pitting. So that was an adjustment. It was cool to see some guys make their cars better, some guys make their cars worse from working on it from the night before. And I think we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about the Ryan Blaney, Kyle Busch incident on Sunday. Because there wasn't a TV replay of it, which I found was interesting, right? Well, we had to wait an hour or two for some guy with a NASCAR Productions camera back there just happened to be shooting at the right spot at the right time. And in the frame, all you see is the 12 car put his lefts on the flat and just straight up dump the 18, right? Like it looked like he just drove straight into him, which he did. But what you don't see out of the frame is a lap car. And he, I guess, was in the racing groove, come to find out, and really bogged up Kyle Busch. And anybody that was watching any in-car cameras this past weekend, I can't stress how nerve-wracking the tunnel turn is, just because you're hauling so much ass through there and you're in the gas. And there's a lot of time to be made up from the tunnel turn into turn 3 that you have to get through there good. So it seemed like Ryan was trying to keep his momentum up, and the 18 had to check up behind the said lap car. And then the 12 just blasted into him. So then Kyle gets out, and they ask him, well, what happened? And realizing that he got hammered on a lot of accounts for bashing certain lap cars at a certain race last year. Hey, Andrew.
I mean,
Andrew, you can join in on the podcast today.
I'm better than
Yeah.
most anyway.
Yeah.
We dropped the anchor. We lost our anchor. Now the boat is full speed ahead.
Yep. Dude, that hair is insane.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Wow.
I mean, there's nothing more symbolic of 2020 than this hairdo right here.
That's bad.
That's why I'm not cutting it, not doing nothing.
You should make a T-shirt where it's just a silhouette of your hair and your beard.
Yeah, need an
They
extra
do
long
baseball
picture.
players, the whole baseball players, it'll work.
Well, if anybody remembers that T-shirt we made for the Old Spice car with like my face, there was actually like the design wrap with my face with the hair that goes up. I'm actually working on that. My hair is close to the length of it was laid out for the car, so that's what I'm working on.
Yeah.
Thank you for the compliment. It really means a lot.
Anytime.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Oh boy. So back
Where
to Kyle
Where
Busch.
was I? So Kyle Busch says, I am not gonna. Yes, I know exactly what happened, but I'm not gonna comment on it because I'm gonna get criticized by everybody in the media. So what he meant by that was he wasn't gonna say anything about a lap car because he wasn't even blaming it on the 12 for driving into him. He was blaming it on the lap car for not getting out of the way. Now, there was a big discrepancy between those lap cars that were not handling well or not very fast and the guys who were fast like Kyle was. So it was hard to maneuver around, even I was having to maneuver around some of the lap cars. That's how slow they were.
Wow.
So it made it tough, made it interesting. And Kyle Busch was the one that paid a little bit of the price for it. But that was really the only incident in the Cup race that was worth noting, I think. Like there's so many one-car incidents in the Cup field, it's pretty crazy because we saw the truck race and 48% of the laps in the truck race were run under caution. Almost half. Legitimately half the laps. Like for one green flag lap, we're going to run a caution lap. And they wrecked on the first lap.
And
So,
why is that? I mean, is it just like it was just one of those days? Is it the talent that's in the truck field? Is it that's how difficult Pocono is?
that's a great question. And all those are accurate. So yes, there's no practice for the truck guys. And those guys are less experienced. Majority of them are less experienced. The guys that race Xfinity, and then the guys that race Xfinity are a little bit less experienced than the guys that race on Sunday. So there was a combination of that, right? There's also a combination of those trucks probably need the practice because those guys don't have the simulation. Not all of them, but some of them, those guys don't have the pull down opportunities. Those guys don't have the previous notes even. So a lot of those guys were seeing Pocono for the first time, and Pocono is a tough track. So the trucks probably weren't handling very well. Lack of experience. That's what made the Truck Series race probably not go so smooth. And then you go to the Xfinity race, and I think the biggest factor with that is that those cars have a lot less downforce than what the trucks or the Cup cars do. So when one of those cars gets out of shape, it's harder for the guys to maneuver around it because the cars aren't stuck to the racetrack as well as the Cup cars. So I don't think that that's necessarily a experience problem. I think in some probably cases when guys are trying to push a little bit too aggressive might be a little bit lack of experience, but overall speaking, I think the lack of downforce in Xfinity cars makes it harder to avoid a crash. Because when somebody gets out of shape in a Cup car, you just see everybody scatter, and you can either slow down fairly quick and you can maneuver quick because the cars have a big spoiler and a big splitter. And the guys are more experienced, so you're going to see less guys get out of shape, spin out on their own, and collect other cars. Tyler Reddick and Eric Jones got into it on Saturday. That was a mistake on Tyler Reddick's part, just trying to keep his momentum up, got into the 20s left for a quarter, and then drove them both in the fence. But I think that I don't know if you've kept up with the Xfinity stuff very much, Lauren, or Alexa, but there was a little bit of a rift going on between Noah Gragson and Myatt Snyder. You know anything about that?
No.
You don't, Myatt.
What's his name?
It's like Wyatt with an M.
Okay.
So Noah spun him out in Vegas. This is like in a life long ago,
Right.
pre-quarantine, pre-COVID-19, like in March, right? They were racing each other hard. Myatt was in the 21 RCR car. Noah Gregson drives for Dale Jr. And apparently Myatt did some stuff to Noah that he wasn't happy about. Noah spun him right out through the infield grass. So from that point until about halfway through this Xfinity race at Pocono, like he didn't forget March, April, May, June, quarantine, July. Here we are, Pocono. He gets to run off turn 1 on a restart, and he's running well. And he more or less is pushing the 9, gets him out of shape, spins him out. What's fair is fair, right? You spun me out of Vegas, I'm going to spin you out of Pocono. Unfortunately, it took out about 9 other people. It took out Allgaier, Hemrick. It took out 4 or 5 other guys who were contending for the win. So I heard, rumor has it, that there was an altercation between Noah and Myatt. Don't know the extent of it. Know some of the details, but maybe you're going to have to dig in and think about it. People on Reddit can dig in because they have their sources and figure out what Noah might have said or done to Myatt Snyder, because I don't think that they're friends. Doesn't seem like they're friends. So there you have it. That was probably the most exciting stuff from Pocono.
Right.
Was there anything that we're missing out on?
I don't think so.
How dark was it getting on Sunday?
It was pretty dark. Yeah, so that's.
I know they said sunset was like 8:30, but I didn't know if when the sun technically sets, if all of a sudden it starts getting dark, or if you guys can still see a little bit.
Well, it was overcast, so it made it. It'd be one thing if it was clear, right? It was like you'd have all the sunlight until it would go down. But I think the race ended at like, I don't know, 8 maybe 8:15, and it was. If I didn't have a clear shield on, I would have had to open it. It was maybe not turn your headlights on automatically type dark, but it was dark enough to where you're like, I got to pay attention a little bit more here. And I've been in races like that with like the K&N series where you actually race after an Xfinity race and you're just racing up against the clock. And if there's a long caution or something that darkness is going to happen, then they'll actually shorten the race because it's too dark. Yeah. That's why we adjusted our strategy to try to run it out. And that way, if NASCAR did decide to shorten it 10 laps because it was too dark, we'd maybe been okay. But didn't catch that break. Luckily, NASCAR didn't have to call it short because at least it went the distance. And
it was so funny. Like everybody, I've seen like a lot of tweets after the fact. Like Steve Letarte was like, "Oh, there's no way this race they're gonna go the whole way." I think Jeff Gluck even said something about it. It was just interesting that we ended up getting it in and everything was fine, but nobody thought that
it was tight. It was tight. If there had been one more caution, or if it had been another 20 minutes, I don't think we would have got it in.
Yeah.
And that was actually probably one of the worst races I've ever been in for the sun glare on your windshield, because the sun was setting right when you turned off into the tunnel turn, which, like I said, you're already full commit into the tunnel turn already, going probably 175 miles an hour, not lifting. And you compound that with your windshield that's pitted up from rocks, oil, speedy dry, whatever is on it, oil from the guy in front of you, or water, or whatever it is. Your windshield is caked with junk until you can get a tear off. And then if you just think about driving directly into the sun, and you literally have to just kind of go off of, all right, I know I was lifting, or I was starting to turn in at the 1 cone. I was getting to the 1 cone, and I'd be like, okay, I think I was remembering to turn this much. And then you can, when the sun kind of gets over to the right side, you can see where the apron line is, and you're like, okay, now like I connected the dots from the wall to the bottom. Now I can connect the dots back to the outside wall. So that's the sort of stuff people sitting on the couch don't know. because I think that Ryan Preece on a restart spun right out by himself, and there was a cool shot of Bubba avoiding it. Then he hits like this ramp in the asphalt, and his whole car comes off the ground. I really think that started because Ryan couldn't see because it happened right after a restart, and it was right when the sun was at its worst, and you can get yourself too high and then get in the trash, and then that's what happened, I think. But yeah, a lot of factors when it comes to being a guy who drives in circles that you wouldn't expect. How about we go to break? Because there's some stuff outside of
more fun
coaching.
stuff.
There's more fun stuff to talk about on the next installment. And we're back. So some stuff, not competition-wise. A little update on what's moving and shaking with this Corona stuff in regards to fans at tracks and banquets and stuff. It was announced yesterday that NASCAR will not be doing the Nashville festivities, unfortunately. But they did say they're going to continue it for 21 and beyond, which is hopeful. But unfortunately, I guess no banquet. Obviously that's just precautionary because you don't really know the state of where we're going to be at when it comes to, the end of November, December. So I guess just NASCAR has said, you know what, like instead of saying what if or whatnot, we're going to figure out something else to honor the champion and the people in the playoffs. That's not in a formal setting. I don't know, but I don't know what they're thinking. But it was bad news yesterday. They're not going to Nashville for the banquet this year. But good news is we're going to Nashville to race in 2021. Maybe not the best track in Nashville. I think we can all agree everybody wanted to go to the fairgrounds short track, but we're getting the concrete Nashville Super Speedway, which, hey, sometimes you got to give a little to get a little, right? And it's good to see something different on the schedule. Cup cars have never been to Nashville. They're going to be able to utilize this PJ1 and actually make it a decent race because they didn't have that technology back when the Xfinity cars were going there and Busch cars were going back in there during the 2000s. So I think it'll overall be good. I think it'll be able to gauge. It's going to be able to gauge that market to see how well fans do turn up, and then see maybe push the town committee to start opening up the whatever legal actions they have against the fairgrounds to let Bristol and SMI get in there and start like molding it to how they want to do it. So there's that. And then it was announced that New Hampshire is going to allow fans, not like 5,000, like a decent amount of fans, which that shows some light at the end of the tunnel. And New Hampshire always comes out in droves. So I'm excited to see how many do you think there, Lauren?
Well, I've heard that it could be, I think like the state might have told them that they can have up to like 18,000 fans or something like that. So that's good news.
That's a decent amount of people.
Yeah. I mean, as opposed to 1,000 that we had at Talladega or wherever that was. I mean, that was great, but it's going to be good to see a decent amount of people show up. So.
Yeah, and that'll be cool. I mean, 18,000 will still look generally small, but at least it's going to put some sort of energy back in the arena with just people cheering. And I don't know if I'd imagine that they're not going to open up the pit area anytime soon for spot passes, but when it comes to people going outside the track and sitting in the stands and camping, even making an event out to go watch the Xfinity race and go watch the Cup race, that's what I'm excited about. Because Kevin Harvick even said on Saturday night that he was done with the burnouts, done with standing on the car, just because he misses the fans being at the racetrack. And I thought that was a pretty honorable statement because he's a champion and he obviously shows that he's valuing the fans being at the racetrack, and he's not going to put on some sort of show just for TV. He wants to put on the show for the fans at the racetrack. And for the audio listeners, Levi's making an appearance.
He's so big.
Levi.
Yeah, he's a little chunker.
He is.
He left me a real chunker diaper this morning too.
You were due.
I was due, but
You
dude, it
changed
was
a diaper.
brutal. I about lost it. It was at least a 15 wiper.
It was a man poop.
Yeah.
15.
No, I almost blasted through a whole box of baby wipes.
He can say that because I did have to go upstairs and get a new thing of wipes.
Oh my God.
It was unbelievable. Congrats. You about made Daddy throw up.
Good job, baby Ruben.
His face was just like, what do you want me to do about it?
Yeah, I'm a
Yeah,
baby.
Dad.
That's what I do. I cry.
I
eat,
can't wipe
I
my
poop.
own ass.
Yep.
Say, Dad, you gotta wipe my ass for me.
I know. I see that.
It's okay, Corey. One day he'll be wiping yours. So
Yeah, that's how it
Yeah.
works, right?
I'm just waiting for the
Much.
middle of the night blowout.
Yeah.
well,
So fans back.
yeah, fans back at the racetracks. They announced this choose cone thing for the All-Star race, and now I've seen like a lot of drivers talking about that in tweets and whatever. I don't know what the heck it is. So explain that.
Yeah, so that's been something that is a pillar in short track racing. So a choose cone is this. Literally, they will put a cone, like a traffic cone, with a string tied to it. And when you're coming to one to go, there are certain tracks. I'm going to say about 9 or 10 places we go to a year, maybe a little bit more than that there is a considerable advantage for one lane or the other on a restart, right? It's preferred line, non-preferred line. And just by luck of the draw where you're running, let's just say the top is preferred at Pocono. Then if you happen to be running third and caution comes out, now you are in the non-preferred group, right? So now you're at a disadvantage to the guy who was behind you originally before the caution came out, but now he's going to end up passing you because now he's in the preferred group, he's in the top. So what a choose cone does is you stick the cone. They're not probably going to use a legitimate cone because it's Cup Series and they're a little more technical, I guess, and they don't want to be as barbaric as just putting a cone with a string attached to it. But when you come to one to go, whether that's at the restart zone or the start-finish line, if you're the leader, you have the choice, which the leaders always had the choice, the top or bottom, but nobody else did. It's always been the leader chooses, call it the inside, then it's second on the outside, third on the inside, fourth, and shuffles like that on back. Now you have the opportunity, if you're running third per se, and the leader, the preferred line is the top, then the leader will choose the top. The second place, 90% of the time, will choose opposite. That way he still starts on the front row. But the third place guy now has the option to choose the bottom or the top. And then fourth can choose the bottom of the top. So let's just say if 8 people choose the preferred lane and only 4 people choose the inside lane, the guy running 13th, I guess, could choose the bottom and then gain 3 or 4 spots and start in that unpreferred groove. So it really is not going to look a whole lot different beyond the guy running, third, fourth, fifth might jumble a little bit, but right now you see all the jockeying on pit stops when the guys are pulling out of the pit box, slowing down, speeding up to be behind certain people because they're actually counting cars to see where they want to start on the restart, whether it's an odd number for the inside or an even number for the outside. So that pretty much takes all those Jimmy Jockin games on pit road, and there's even games played to try to beat somebody to a spot on a restart when you get to the start finish line, coming to one to go. So it's going to get rid of that. There's going to be a distinct point in the racetrack. You either choose the bottom or you choose the top, and you got to stick with it. And I think it'll make it exciting. It's something different. Not all tracks, and they're only trying this for the All-Star race to gauge what everybody is capable of doing. But I do think it's going to be a good thing. Short tracks all over the country do it. So it's cool that NASCAR is taking a little bit of a chapter out of their playbook to put in for the All-Star race. So that'll be exciting to see. Now, like I said, there's going to be places where it would be a helpful tool to make the racing a little bit better, and places that it won't be that much of a factor. So I really want to give NASCAR the kudos for being flexible and changing some rules on the fly to continue to make competition side better. And also just the flexibility they're showing to like do the double header, to do the triple headers like we saw this weekend. Like, those are topics that NASCAR's never even had to have before, and they're bending and being flexible enough, as are the networks with Fox and the people covering it, to give the fans as much racing and as quality racing as we have been the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I like 2020 NASCAR and all of the changes and experimenting that they're doing.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Did you like the doubleheader, Corey? Would you be a fan of doing it at more tracks, or maybe just once or twice a year?
So it would be certain tracks, right? There's certain tracks that you probably couldn't do a doubleheader just because certain tracks are more prone to getting damage on the car, like places like Bristol, Martinsville, where you're leaning on cars and you're door jamming each other and you're hitting somebody with your right front fender. Place like Pocono, where you're generally by yourself and you don't really wreck a lot, whether places like there or a Michigan. Seems like we're doing a doubleheader there. Seems like we're doing a doubleheader at Dover as well. Dover is going to be, I think we talked about it with Alex on the show. When we do a doubleheader at Dover, we are going to be smoked just because that's probably the most grueling track on our body. Because the amount of G's that you pull there, because we're going so fast. So that's going to be the toughest part is recovering between Saturday and Sunday at a place like Dover. But when we go to a place like Pocono, I think it's a perfect place to do a doubleheader, because the chance to get damage on your car is very low relative to some of the places we go to. And there's so many different varying strategies like we saw between Saturday and Sunday. It could make for 2 exciting races, except for, the same guys finished first and second. But there was a lot of different strategies between Saturday and Sunday because that track offers the opportunity to play a little bit different game. And I think Michigan will as well. Maybe not so much as Pocono, because you are at risk of going a lap down at Michigan. But, I think it's just cool overall that we're packing a bunch of racing into a short amount of time.
Yeah. Well, maybe this is a good time to take another break, and then we can come back and talk about whatever else and then wrap it up.
Have we talked about Hall of Fame nominees yet? I don't think we have.
I don't think so.
Yeah, because it came out on Wednesday or Tuesday. I think it came out last Tuesday after we did the podcast. So
yeah,
stick around and we'll give our opinions on the 3 inductees into the 2021 class NASCAR Hall of Fame and the Clutch Coffee Performer of the Week.
Oh, yeah.
And we're back. I've really enjoyed this show so far today, Lauren and Alexa.
Something feels different about it.
I wonder why.
It just feels a little more cheery.
Yeah.
I'm not having to validate myself all the time. I don't know why though. Maybe it's just this week. Maybe it's just a nice week, sun shining outside in Cornelius, North Carolina. I don't know what the difference is. The show just feels right.
It sure
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe we continue. I don't know. We'll see. But it just feels good today. I just wanted to point that out. I don't know if you felt the same way.
I agree. I'm loving it.
Yeah. So maybe we'll figure that out, why it feels that good. But
I'll think on it.
we still got. What else feels good? Dale Jr. Because Dale Jr. is in NASCAR Hall of Fame. Round of applause.
Woo!
Round of applause, Dale Jr.
Good job, Dale Jr.
Good job, Dale. Now, I'll be honest. He wasn't my first pick. He was on my list, but he wasn't my first pick. But when I go back and think about it, it is called the Hall of Fame. Fame. There is nobody more famous in our sport today or the last 2 decades than Dale Earnhardt Jr.
No.
So if there is a hallway of famous people of our sport, Dale Jr. is in that hallway.
Yes.
Who are the other 2? I know, but I wanted to include
Stefanik.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Stefanik. And no, and I'm glad to see a short track guy get the credit he deserves. Mike Stefanik was a Busch North champion as well as a modified champion, won bukus of races, and didn't really pursue a national career. Just wanted to be a short track guy, stay at home with his family, and you got to respect that. And I'm glad to see the committee honor that, because there's really no more deserving and nobody who has done more for modified racing, especially than Mike Stefanik. So that was really cool. And then who else, Alexa?
Red Farmer.
And Red Farmer, who I don't know if anybody knows this. Lauren, I'm sure you don't, but Red Farmer still races today.
He's like 80-something years old.
I think he's 90.
God.
That guy's seen some stuff.
Yeah.
Now,
He's a badass.
Red Farmer is 1,000% a badass. And, that guy has lost some dear friends in the sport. He's obviously part of the Alabama gang. He was in the helicopter with Davey Allison when Davey Allison passed away. He was obviously dear friends with the Allisons and everybody with it, Neil Bonnet. And that was one guy who I wish would have got in. I'm a big Neil Bonnet fan. But I think without a doubt he'll eventually get in next year or two. But what an interesting class that ranges from the top of our sport on the broadcast and competitor side with Dale Jr. all the way down to somebody who is 90 years old and still lives his life to be a race car driver. And Mike Stefanik representing the short track guys. So, hey, really cool class.
Yeah.
I did think shorten it up from 5 to 3 once you really started breaking it down that's a small number.
It
and
is.
then, because now all of a sudden we went from 5. Well, 5 is way too much, and we're going to run out of people to put in. Now it's like, well, are there going to be some people missing out on the Hall of Fame now that only has 3? So it's like, was 4 the right number? I don't know, but that also might make it a little bit more prestigious. Obviously, to get it in, being less people are getting in, but I do think that there's enough people on the committee that know what they're doing and know the facts to vote the right people in. And even the people who don't necessarily get nominated to go in, they're just as deserving. It's like, if you're even on that list, that's an honor. So congrats to everybody who's on the list. Congrats to Dale Earnhardt Jr., Red Farmer, and Mike Stefanik and his family. So now we have an award. We have an award, the biggest award that we have to offer in our show, the Clutch Coffee Performer of the Week.
Yeah.
Who is the Clutch Coffee Performer of the Week?
Well, I think old Kevin Harvick, clearly he won the race this weekend, and we're not going to give it to the other guy that won the race this weekend.
No, there was only one winner of the weekend.
Right, and I think Kevin Harvick has been a nice pal to you this week, Corey.
Well, eventually this entire story is going to get told. And if you're keeping up with my social media and mine and Go Fast's racing plans over the next several months, you're gonna know that there are some things that I'm in a tough spot with. And I got Kevin's opinion. I went to Kevin Harvick's bus on Sunday to get his opinion on how to navigate such things that are put on my plate. And he gave me some amazing advice from his own experiences, as well as, he says he's worn the owner's hat, he's worn the driver's hat, he's worn a father's hat, right? He's worn them all. And he was wearing the friend hat when he was talking to me. And he gave me some advice on how to deal with it that I'm going to definitely take into account over the next month or two. So stay tuned. It's going to be an interesting couple weeks. But I'm going to end up doing what's good for my family and my career. And
what's necessary.
And what is necessary. So, my team's doing some necessary things. I'm doing some necessary things to stay relative as a race car driver and provide for my family. And we're going to address and navigate through it. And we're going to be everybody's going to be okay. And I'm glad Daryl.
Okay.
Everybody's going to be okay. So don't you worry. We're going to be just fine. Kevin Harvick's Clutch Performer of the Week. I don't have the read, but I'm going to just free ball it here.
Go ahead, Corey. You got
Clutch
it.
Coffee, Mooresville, North Carolina, has the best coffee of all time. Their lattes, cold brews, nitro. I don't know if they have nitro, but that's my favorite. Everything that you want with coffee, you get it at Clutch Coffee. So you can order it online to your house. You
So
can
true.
go to the multiple Clutch Coffee spots in Mooresville, North Carolina. It's the best coffee, and it's just the best. Clutch Coffee.
Yeah.
It's the best. I don't think that was their slogan, but I just made it for them.
Well, that's it now.
Do you have any – I got to go serious again, but I would say do you have the O'Reilly read, Lauren? Because we can't leave our favorite sponsors out.
Yeah, I did. Well, I thought I did. Hold on.
I would say we can read some reviews, but I think we're gonna get some good reviews on this show. I don't know why. It just flowed so well.
Yeah, it was good stuff.
It was nice. It was very nice. I didn't feel like I was interrupted.
No.
I felt like we were one cohesive unit. I thought we were.
Yeah. Whatever we did this week, I think we need to keep doing it.
I think so.
Yeah.
We'll make a nice like a tree chart and see what we've done, and we'll just continue to build on that.
Okay. Alexa, which one am I supposed to do?
We've been doing the top one lately, so read.
It's O'Reilly reward bonus points month. I feel like it's always rewards bonus points month at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Stop in today for store-wide savings, plus earn double rewards points on all sale items like wiper blades, motor oil, tools, accessories, and more. Not an O Rewards member yet? Sign up today in store or online and take advantage of bonus points month at O'Reilly Auto Parts. It's fast, it's easy, and it's free, and I love free stuff. But hurry, because double bonus points are only available for a limited time. O'Reilly Auto Parts, better prices, every day.
Get them. Gotta love them parts. Hey, I gotta go. Sorry, I gotta run so quick, but thanks for enjoying another episode of Sunday Money.
So good.